What's going on, traders? We're going to try to make this one quick, but before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, I'm not going to go too deep into detail in this video simply because a lot of today was just boring and yesterday as well. But after hours did give us a glimmer on what's to come. And I've warned you guys in multiple videos in the last like 2 3 videos that I do think we're going to see more downside. Now, in my last video, I did say I do expect a pump, but whatever pump does come in is pretty much going to be a setup for a lower high across the market. And it looks like that's exactly what happened today. I gave you guys a key level of 556 on the SPY, and we tried to break above that. And I said if we break above that, we could see a move towards 562. And we absolutely failed to mount and hold 556. So what happens from here? So I keep encouraging you guys to pretty much mark this channel on your charts because this tells you everything you need to know. No one ever listens to me, but it is important to keep this channel in mind because as long as we're trading in here, it is safe to, remain bullish. But I don't think we're going to hold this channel much longer. I genuinely don't. Our key level to the downside is 548 on the SPY. If we just so happen to break above 548, we can start heading towards the supply and demand zone at around 545, 544. After that, you're looking at a move to 542. Now, I'm going to be devil's advocate here and say that we can see a move as low as 537 on the SPY. But we'll talk about that when we get closer to that target. But for now, I think the lower high has been set up here, and I think we can see more downside heading into the rest of this week. It's also important to note that in multiple videos, I've been pretty much warning you guys that I'm bullish all the way up into big tech earnings. I am. And big tech earnings is here, guys. It's here. So it only makes sense that we're seeing somewhat of a sell-off. I mean, today was a great example of that. We had Tesla earnings, we had Google earnings, we had Enphase, we had a lot of earnings today, and we saw the Nasdaq pretty much give up like a decent chunk of his gains today. So that just gives you an idea on what I'm talking about when I say I'm bullish all the way into big tech earnings. And I'm not surprised that we're starting to see more selling coming in. I think a lot of the moves that we've seen, or a lot of the moves that we've seen as far as upside, has pretty much been priced in. And whatever, news we do come in, it's just going to be bad news. And that's usually the how the market works, guys. I mean, that's just how it works. When the market is booming, when the market is rallying, you get nothing but good news. It's just nothing but good headlines. There's nothing but great news. The skies are clear. There's never anything bad happening. And when the market is dropping, you start getting tons of bad news. Like nothing is ever good. It's just always, and this is why I say news is very much manipulated. Okay, it's very much manipulated. You're very naive to think otherwise. At least the U.S. news is manipulated. I don't know about everything else, but as far as U.S. news is very manipulated in order to either boost the market and keep it going in one direction or to cause somewhat of a reversal. And I think that's where traders are really tested at. I don't see too many traders calling a reversal. I always see traders being able to call a bull run. But when the market shows signs of reversal, they pretty much stick to their bias until I don't know what. I think I'm one of the only few traders that's actually saying we're bullish into big tech earnings, and I'm also one of the few traders that are that's pretty much saying right now that you should really be cautious. I'm not seeing too many traders talk about this or talk about a possible drop coming in. A lot of them are still like hardcore bullish, and I think that's just such a safe cop out and such a safe way to pretty much be a YouTuber. It's just consistently be bullish because you're going to always be more right than wrong if you're always bullish. And, I get it. But at the end of the day, guys, point being here is to be very cautious into the rest of this week. Big tech earnings is here. And honestly, if we're looking at the bright side of things, the fact that we're getting this sell off prior to like the big guys like Apple, Microsoft, and all that, it could be a good sign because we do have gaps to the upside still at around previous highs on the SPY. So if we're getting a lot of this move done this week, it could be a good sign heading into next week or the following weeks. So something to pay attention to here. But for now, I think we're going to see more downside. Watch that 548 level on the SPY. We give up that, then things can be really, really bad if you're looking to be bullish. As far as triple Qs, it's pretty much the same thing on the triple Qs. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this trend right here. This is a daily trend. We rejected here. We rejected here. Let's actually mark it out for you guys. So this trend, right? We rejected here, we rejected in this area here, we broke through, and then we bounced here, and then we broke down once again. You can also say there's somewhat of a head and shoulders pattern here. I think I mentioned this last video. You got your head here, somewhat of a shoulder here, and another shoulder here, and you broke this trend line as well. I think we're going to head lower from here. There's just no sign of any more bullish momentum happening. I think bears are pretty much in control, at least a good 90% in control right now. And if I had to point out a level, I would say 468, which is right where that gap fill is on the triple Qs. But I've said this before. I think we can head as low as 460 on the triple Qs. But first, let's focus on the first target, which is that 468 level, which is right here in this area. And even here, so you guys just see that I'm not making it up. We're on the daily time frame. We pretty much retested, and I've said this last video, any upside we do see across the market is probably going to be a retest and a sign to create a lower high. And that's exactly what it looks like is happening here. We pretty much retested this trend, and now it looks like we're trying to break further down. Now, granted, once again, I did think we were going to at least see a little bit more upside, a little bit, maybe 490 on the triple Qs, but we just couldn't fail. We just failed to make anything happen today. So something we're looking at on the triple Qs. I think starting tomorrow, we do have news tomorrow as well. Wednesday, we have flash PMI, manufacturing PMI, and then we have some Fed members speaking. So tomorrow is going to be very interesting. Be very careful. Me personally, I'm going to start looking to get into puts because I'm starting to get more and more confirmations towards my strategy that we are reversing and we're starting to see more downside. Okay. A lot of traders in the Discord are asking me, should we get puts now and all that other stuff. Me, I just wanted to wait to see how today plays out. And really just get confirmation. This Biden news about him possibly passing away and things like that, I don't think that's good news. Him backing down, I didn't even think was good news. We got to put things into perspective here. We got to say things out loud to ourselves. The nation's leader is backing down, pretty much confirming that he is incapable of running the nation. That's not good news. That's not bullish news. It's like, that's not bullish news. That's very, very bad news. The president is pretty much confirming that, hey, I am too sick to run this nation. And somehow we're saying that's bullish news. That makes zero sense. Okay, that just makes zero sense to think that. Okay, so sometimes we got to put things into perspective. I don't think that's good news. I never thought it was good news. I think if the market priced more of that news in, then it could have turned into good news for for whatever market considers good news. But if the president is backing down because he's sick and possibly passing away, I don't know if that's like real news or not. But if that was the case, that's not good news. I don't think that's good news at all. Yeah, I don't know where we're getting that from. But as far as the overall market, I think if anything is going to move the market, it's going to be earnings. Whatever determines the market moving up or down is going to be earnings, big tech earnings, plain and simple. I've told you guys this multiple times, multiple videos. So 468 is what I'm looking at on the triple Qs. I will be starting to look into getting to puts tomorrow, depending on how we open. I imagine whatever news we get tomorrow could help this drop come in, but right now I'm just not seeing the bullish upside or any more possibilities for bullish upside. Maybe next week, maybe in the near future, we start seeing that. But for now, everything is showing that it wants to drop, guys. Simple as that. We look at IWM. Someone asked me, "Am I looking to trade IWM once again?" Um, if we're looking at the daily time frame, so IWM is weird because right now it's holding the supply and demand zone and it's in the supply and demand zone. So it makes me wonder, are we getting back into a sector rotation here? And I could be wrong. Maybe it's just waiting on news tomorrow because IWM, the Russell, does react to news like better than any other ETF, any other future I've seen. So it could just be simply waiting on news tomorrow and then maybe gap down and then we go from there. So really watch this 222, 223 area. If IWM just so happens to give up 220, then I pretty much think it's just going to head further down, and it can start heading towards this gap fill at around 213 range. So something to pay attention to there. As far as the Nasdaq and ES, I don't think I need to really go deep into it, but if but just to help you guys out here, um, it's this pretty much the same thing we're seeing on the triple Qs. You pretty much just are. This was multiple trends, by the way. You pretty much are just retesting it. You rejected it, and right now we're hugging the supply and demand zone. We give up 19,700. I was to go as far as to say 19,650. We give up that, then it gets very liquid. I mentioned this in the last video. It gets very, very liquid. So we really want to see. We really, if we're bullish, we want to hold 19,650. All right, we really, really want to hold that, guys. ES, I've told you guys about. It's not ES, it's Bitcoin, but ES. Let's go to ES. If we are looking at the ES here, 5580 is your key level here, guys. Simple as that. 5580 is what you want to see hold. All right. As long as 5580 holds, I'm pretty much neutral as far as the ES go. But once we give that up, then we can start heading towards 5560. And then once we give up 5560, it's a very tight range. I will say that much. Very tight range, a lot of turbulence here. So we will need news to really just break further down and possibly head towards those gap fills at around those 50, that 5400 area. So 5450, sorry, 5450 area. So something to pay attention to here. As far as Bitcoin goes, people have been asking me about Bitcoin. I told you guys that I think Bitcoin is going to see 70K one more time, and it got pretty close. It got to 68K. So sue me if I didn't get the perfect number for you. But regardless, you guys see it clear as day. We pretty much retested the supply and demand zone here. We hit it, and we are currently rejecting it. That's pretty much it. I think Bitcoin is just going to head further down from here. 52K is back on the table, guys. I'm sorry. It's back on the table. If you were bullish on Bitcoin, given the market conditions and just how things are looking, um, if I were to pick a target right now, 52K is back on the table. All right. We did get pretty close. So, I mean, we saw like what, 53K. So, I mean, but I think we're going to revisit it, and the lowest we could go on Bitcoin is 46K. But we'll talk about 46K. We'll talk about that in the future if we ever get really close to that target around the 50K area. But for now, Bitcoin just looks like it wants to drop, just like everything else. Simple as that. Let's actually look at the VIX now. I haven't been plotting the VIX lately, but what I will say is that looking at the options order flow, a lot of orders have been coming in for that 15 level on the VIX. So we're pretty close to that. Um, I think the VIX, if anything, is going to head towards that $20 range. All right. Simple as that. If we head towards $20, I don't think the VIX is going to like break out or anything right away. There's a lot of bears in this area as far as the VIX goes, and I understand it's the volatility index, but still, I mean, there's a lot of bearish candles, I should say, in this area here. So if I were to pick a level that the VIX could go to, obviously $15 will be first, and then after that, we can head as high as the $20 range, as far as the VIX go. But we've been trading in this channel for quite some time here, so I imagine we're just going to keep doing the same old rodeo over and over again until we get some either breakout to the upside at around $21 or break it down to the downside, guys. But that's really all I have for this video, guys. Really pay attention to the market. Don't force anything. Right now, things do not look bullish, in my opinion. I don't care what any other YouTuber is saying. I'm saying that nothing looks bullish right now. Do not force any trades. I really had to sit back and just really not trade because nothing looks good. It just doesn't. I mean, we gave up 556. I told you guys about 556. We couldn't get above 485 on the triple Qs. I told you guys about 485. I mean, what more do you really want here? Again, mark this channel. I know, someone got to listen to me as far as putting this channel. This channel on your charts is pretty much the key to everything. Okay, so you're not asking me the same question every single day. Do you think the market's gonna do this? Do you think the market's gonna do this? When I'm literally giving you the keys in this YouTube video, guys. So at least if you don't believe in charts, at least just these little two lines on your chart here. This trend line here, this trend line here. We break out of this area. We break out of this channel on the spy. We're heading lower. That is your confirmation there. Simple as that. Me personally, I would definitely be looking. I'm kind of hoping we don't gap out of this tomorrow. That would suck, but it is possible. The reason why I'm hoping is that I would like to get into puts, but if it just so happened to gap down, then I missed that ride. I will be hoping to at least get into IWM if it gives us signs of a drop. But that's all I have, guys. Discord link is in the description below if you want access to my plays early. Also, check out our website below if you want SMS text alerts. You get all my plays sent directly to your phone. And that's really all I have for this video. And until the next video, traders, have a good one.